All right, I've been seeing a lot of articles like this one. Rivian, Kia, and Mercedes see huge jump in new car registrations, a sign of what's to come.
So in the article, the author cites data from S&P Global Mobility on EV registrations in the U.S. in November.
She says there were, quote, very modest gains by Tesla and Ford compared to bigger moves from smaller EV players Rivian and Kia, as well as luxury EVs from Mercedes and BMW. Wow. Okay, so I had to read this because I was like, did something happen with Rivian and Kia and Mercedes-Benz and BMW in November that I hadn't heard about? Turns out, no, nothing happened in November, but what the author did was use percentages instead of hard numbers.
So for instance, boring Tesla only had a growth of 8.6% in registrations in November of 2023, year over year, but Ford had a 21% increase in November 2023 versus November 2022.
Wow. So how many Ford EVs were registered in the U.S. in November of 2023?
7,787.
And how many Teslas were registered in the U.S. in November of 2023?
42,737.
Do you see the problem? Tesla sold about 35,000 more EVs in November than Ford did. About 6 times as many.
The way percentages work is that if you start with a small number, like let's say the number 6,400, and you increase it by 21%, you get 7,787.
Good job, Ford. You sold 1,387 more EVs in November of 2023 than you did in November of 2022.
That's like a 21% increase.
Wow,
you're so dominant.
But if you start with a much bigger number, let's say 39,350, and you increase it by 8.6%, you get 42,737.
That, to me, is a much more impressive feat. Tesla sold 3,387 more EVs in November of 2023 than they did in November of 2022.
That's more than 2 times as many as Ford did. Now, can you say that Ford is growing its EV sales at a faster rate?
Well, I guess you can say that, but because they didn't start at the same point, who cares? It would really only be helpful if you compared Ford's growth rate to Tesla's at a similar point in Tesla's history to see if one was growing faster than the other. But the article went on this way, sharing meaningless percentages of growth for Kia and BMW, etc.
And again, this is as if we were covering a race, and it was Tesla's in the lead there, and they're going very fast, and here they come around the corner. Oh, but Ford is starting to accelerate off the line. Oh boy, here they come. They're losing by, they've been lapped 3 times, but don't worry, Ford is accelerating. How exciting. Tesla's already going 300 miles an hour, but Ford just went from 13 miles an hour up to 14 miles an hour. This is exhilarating, folks. It's as if the media doesn't want you to focus on Tesla as the leader and only that there are other companies catching up. Except they're not catching up, really. They keep stumbling.
Now, do I love EVs more than gas cars? Yes, I do. But I don't love crappy EVs more than Teslas. And unfortunately, most of these EVs aren't in the same league as Tesla. So they give EVs a bad name. And that's kind of where I leave it at. It's like, you know what? If you go out there and buy a non-Tesla, you're not really getting the full EV experience. Sorry to say it, but I've been driving them all. And so far, I haven't found one where I'm like, wow, this is better than a Tesla.
And thankfully, Tesla has come out with the Model 3 and the Model Y, which are pretty much in line in terms of price with a lot of these other EVs. So it's not the same argument anymore that it's like, oh, but a Model S is so much more expensive than a Leaf.
We're going to see that in this next story. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for watching Now You Know Clips.
You can watch full episodes of Tesla Time News on Tuesdays and in-depths on Fridays. Just click the link down below and head over to the Now You Know channel.